You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello, and you're listening to Orange County's longest running business talk show. I am your host, Rick Franzi, and boy, do we have a good show planned for you. Why do you ask? And that's a fair question. Because Jenn Quader is our guest. She is the president and CEO of The Smart Agency. Jenn, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Rick. I'm so honored to be here. And I want to quickly say, you and your team are fantastic. I had so much good prep, and I was also invited to a business potluck. So thank you for the community that you create around this business.
That's what we try to do. That's really, it's been Haley's inspiration, the potluck, and it's just kind of been growing every time we do it. You'll have to come to the one in January.
I'm looking forward to it. I was out of town for that last one, but I'll be at the one in January. I think camaraderie is really important among a business community.
It's such an interesting group of guests that we've had over the years. But let's talk about you as an interesting guest. Talk to me about the original inspiration and maybe motivation you had to buy the Smart Agency.
Absolutely. Well, I was, a lot of times it's right place, right time, right? So when I was young, I grew up with a dad who was an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And then I met a wonderful woman who had a company that she had started in 1994. And I joined that company in 2010. And she had a really great vision for knowing that she wanted a succession plan, and she wanted to do it slow. She wanted to do it over 10 years. So I had a really wonderful ability to work as a partner with her in the firm for 10 years, really get to know the clients, which are across the commercial real estate and finance sector. And so that allowed me to see the opportunity to take it on as kind of the next generation of ownership. So I'd say what really inspired me to buy it was that partnership, that ability to work with the seller and be, elbow deep in the work and really understand it.
She's to be commended for having that long-term vision. Many business owners aren't willing to spend that much time making sure their business continues to thrive after they leave it. Did you come in thinking you were going to be the succession plan, or did that happen organically over the time that you were with her?
The truth is, I came in thinking it. She knew what she wanted. And when I was interviewing, she told me right away, which I think you're right. She was very visionary in that. And I think too many, I believe it's Anthony Robbins who always says, begin with the end in mind. Mm-hmm. And I think too many owners don't do that. I think she was very wise. The other thing she was wonderful at, I could sing her praises all day, because she was also a great mentor, really great mentor to me, helped me to learn not only her business, but the entire industry of commercial real estate, which is very dynamic, can be quite complex. So I think when I think about, now I own a company, what will I do next? I really, that's why mentorship is so important. It's so important to help that next generation to be ready to take on whatever responsibilities may come their way.
So tell me and the audience, Jenn, you had this long amount of time to get ready and anticipate and sort of model the behavior, learn from the master. And then the day came when you were it. What have you learned? Any pivots to the business, any changes or aha moments for you personally now being the president and owner?
Look, such a great question. Aha is the perfect way of saying it. Aha. Now things are different. I think the number one thing I learned is that everything changes every day. It changes so fast. And I believe that, you grow up in an academic environment, you grow up maybe just building your career, and everything seems to be like linear. You seem to be kind of building and building against something. And then the moment you become the owner, you cannot look at it as linear. And it took me a while to realize that, Rick. I'll tell you, I was at a lunch just today with a client of mine, and he was talking about how sometimes as business owners, it can become your identity. And I said, yeah. Early on, when I first acquired it, what I found was that I was conflating it with my identity, such that if the business had a failure, which all businesses have to fail, all leaders have to fail, you have to fail forward. But if the business had a failure, I would adopt that as a personal failure. And that was not helping my mindset, my leadership. So I really worked on pulling that out, letting the Smart Agency is its own identity. It has an amazing team. We have an amazing culture. It runs because I'm the leader, but it also runs without me sitting right there in it, and I think that it's really important that as leaders, we look at, our impact can only be as big as what we're willing to grow. And I think that I want this company to grow. So it's not the Jenn show, it's the smart agency. And how do I make decisions that really fit the long-term trajectory of that company scaling, growing, and being the solution for commercial real estate and finance, marketing, and PR everywhere.
Boy, there were a lot of teachable moments in that answer, Jenn, and thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The learning that being an entrepreneur and running an entrepreneurial business is not a linear experience. I had a corporate career, and I agree with you. You sort of stack your successes. You get a pay raise, that now becomes the floor. You sort of keep going as long as no calamities happen to your career. It's an evolution. But in business, that's one of the lessons I had to learn, and it took me a while to realize that. I think my previous career in sales helped me to be ready for that, because you zero out the scoreboard at the new year and you start all over again. And that's kind of what it is with an entrepreneur. Last year's success does not really mean anything for this year.
What do they say in investment? Past performance does not indicate future results, right?
No, there are no guarantees. No guarantees.
Never. Although you did ask, did we make a pivot? And I think one thing that I was able to pivot after I kind of realized that, I created a new, I'd say a rhetoric, a motto throughout our company. And this has been our motto really since about 2020, when we all found out that the world could change in a really big way. So, and everyone, I hear them now say it, I tell them all, we are an ocean. Our company is an ocean. The tides will go in, the tides will go out, the currents will move. We must be flexible. You can't fight with the ocean. And so, and that really has allowed us to adopt to big change in wide swaths.
Look at you. You're like a Zen master over here in addition to business owner.
Look, you're speaking to my inner heart. That's one day I want to be a yoga teacher. That's my big dream.
Okay. Well, there you hear it first here, maybe on Critical Mass Business Talk Show. Thank you. Okay. Now let's talk about the Smart Agency. You sort of teased us a little bit about what you do and who you do it for, but take us a little deeper. What problems are you solving? What's your niche? And who are the type of people to get the most value from working with your agency?
Thank you for that question, Rick. Again, such a beautiful platform to be able to share this. So the Smart Agency exists only to advance commercial real estate and finance through effective communication. So we are very niche into a business of capital markets and property trades and investment at all levels. So we serve all sorts of types of clients: institutional investors, affordable housing, developers, engineers, brokers, architects, everyone across that spectrum. But I think your question is the most important one. What problems are we trying to solve? And I think the biggest problem that communications is trying to solve is misunderstandings. It's people not understanding your business, not understanding your investment platform, not knowing who you are in the market. When you come in as a company, and I say this a lot, around a company or a person, you can create an energy. And you can measure that energy any way you want. You can measure it in foot traffic or clicks or impressions or all of those metrics, but it's really an energy, and that energy is what moves business forward. And so I think who we really help is people who have companies in the commercial real estate and finance sector, and they're facing problems like, hey, our clients don't know who we are anymore. Hey, everyone in our target markets thinks that we are evil landlords, and we're not. We're actually really responsible investors. So it's getting people to understand and look, frankly, in a I'll gently just say, in an America where there is a strong anti-capitalist movement happening, it is really important that understanding can come not only between companies and their external audiences, their clients, their customers that keeps things running, but also their internal audiences, making sure their employees stay connected to them. So I think who we really help is commercial real estate and finance companies that need understanding among their clients, their employees, any of them, through PR and communications.
So again, a lot of great insight, and I have a couple follow-ups, if that's okay.
Love it.
What's your area that you address? Southern California, Western region, the country?
The country. We are very
Okay.
national. And again, thank you, Internet, for coming into our world, because real estate is a local business, but a lot of investors invest nationally because every market is different. And so we really serve clients all over the US, even we do have clients working in global markets. So
Hmm.
some global work, but heavily US focused. A lot of investment happening in Florida, the Sun Belt has been a big region where people have been investing. Chicago, New York, Dallas, and then of course all throughout California, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, really throughout the US, wherever there is commercial real estate, there is the smart agency.
And Orange County, in particular, Southern California in general, is a great area for commercial real estate investment and investors as well, right? So this is a good home office space to be positioned from, I would think.
This is like the home of it. I mean, when I came here, I moved here from North Carolina. Well, by way of Paris, I did my graduate school there. But when I came here, I didn't know what commercial real estate was. You know what I
Mm,
mean? I that's not a term you hear growing up. And so
okay.
you're right. Orange County is such a hotbed for that because we really understand the value of space. And then as I've grown in the industry, I really understand that the power of a sense of place, the power of the built environment, and how that affects everything from our health to economic flows to supply chains. So what I like about commercial real estate is that at its surface, it's just buildings, but when you dig into it, it really affects every part of the economy. And I dig big impact, Rick. I like big impact. So I love that we can dig our hands in and get stuff done.
Boy, and your work must even be more important, I would think, for your clients because post-COVID, the world of office space and coming to work, I mean, there are just sea changes and trends that are happening um, that people must be needing your messaging and your positioning even more importantly now.
I couldn't agree more. You said it right, guys. You heard it from Rick. You should call the smart agency because
And I'm impartial. I'm just an observer. I have
but
no
you
stake
are
in
right.
this.
There, this is a truth. The truth is, prior to me acquiring, this was one other pivot that I made. Prior to acquiring the agency, we were positioned a bit more generally. We always had commercial real estate clients, but we were positioned a little more generally. And I'll just tell you really honestly, Rick, during the pandemic, I had acquired the company in 2018. Now it's 2 years later. Things are tough. And I'm
Mm.
thinking to myself, how am I going to position this firm? I'm working on the rebrand to Smart Agency. And I came up with this. And look, I didn't bring this external because you couldn't say this in 2020. But I said, you know what? We are ride or die for commercial real estate. That's what we are. We're
Mm.
ride or die. And when you're ride or die for an industry, when you live with it through the ups and the downs, then you are part of that industry. And to me, you got to have skin in the game if you're going to make that impact. So that was a pivot that I made. I essentially put the stake in the ground and said, we're only going to do commercial real estate and finance because the truth is, I can't train a team to be the best at commercial real estate communications and also sell tennis shoes. I can't train that, but I can train you how to understand commercial real estate, the complexity of capital flows, all these different pockets of decision makers from regional and federal municipality, from regional municipalities to federal bodies and regulations to private companies, all of that complexity, I can train it by keeping that stream very clear. And so that really positioning, I think, is what allows us to deepen and have that bigger impact with our clients because again, I'm borrowing from a client here who recently said that what we do is a lot like building a bridge to another company. They need help. They're drowning. They don't know what they need. So we build a bridge. Like we already know how to reach these audiences. We already understand what trends are happening across all these different product types. So it allows us to really serve the industry at large and to help whatever players are active in the market.
I think that's a best practice to be deep in a niche. I think it's risky because you're like in a niche, but to be the expert and the clear best choice, if you have that relationship and that commitment, I think clients and prospects pick up on that, Jen. So I applaud your focus and the risk that you took from riding or dying with commercial real estate. You talked earlier about communications being inwardly focused as well as outwardly focused. And then you linked that earlier with the idea that there is some sentiment of anti-capitalism and that you think initially that's outside your company. But as millennials and Gen Zs are moving into the workplace. I'm wondering, how is that impacting the work that you might be doing with some of your clients to brand the firm in their mind in a positive way?
Ooh, good question. Ooh, I love that question because that is really a truth. And it is something that I have to really combat. As you can hear, I'm a very optimistic person. I believe in optimism and idealism, and a lot of Gen Z millennials they believe in that. So they want this energy of we're making the world a better place, and we are. But I do have to tell them that we are also helping rich people stay rich. That is something that we do. We help with wealth preservation. And so what I do is I attack it head on, is the truth, Rick. I talk to these people and I say, listen, you can't make change sitting on the sideline looking at an industry saying that industry's too rich. You can't. The way you make change is get at the table. You know, they say make a seat. Excuse me, I'm hitting my mic. I'm excited. They say make a seat for yourself at the table. You got to sit there. You can't just talk about it. So I think what I do is I really get them to understand this is an industry where, first of all, you know, rich or not, these are great people. These are people who really want to make an impact all over the place. And so what I have to do is get Gen Z to really understand that wider impact, like I was talking about it touching the whole economy. They can't just think I'm promoting office properties. I'm promoting, you know, single family rentals. They have to understand the entirety of the market. And they're not going to do that on day one. You know what I mean? But we bring them in, letting them know, look, this is an industry that's always changing. There's an opportunity for you to sit at the table, be a woman in commercial real estate. That's what I happen to be, or be a man in commercial real estate that is at the helm of change. So what I'm trying to do is get them to see the benefits of this dynamic industry, because the commercial real estate industry is so cool. Like, it's actually cool. Architects are cool. Like, engineers are cool. These people are building things. And I think that when you conflate the idealism of capitalism, and again, that's a whole, that we could do a whole political talk on that, and we don't need to. But when you kind of conflate that with, like, I don't know if I want to serve this kind of company, I think you have to separate that, and you have to look at it. And then the last thing I will say is that we did put together a very strong client vetting process, because one thing that is important, we are working with clients that move money. They invest in big things and they move money. So we're very careful about vetting, because we have to have a match of values. I'm not looking to help someone do unethical things. That's not what our company does. So I think that helps a lot, explaining the vetting process and how we select our clients, and making sure that they feel the purpose that is real within us. That is really what I think gets them on board. And then again, that overarching education is what keeps them on board.
Love that. So I work with a lot of SMB business owners in Orange County. And to your earlier point, that businesses have cycles, and yesterday does not predict tomorrow. Those that have been able to purchase, let's say, the office building they're in, the manufacturing site, it brings a certain level of stability to them that the business cannot ever. I mean, it's a generational wealth investment that they have, that sometimes has more value than the business that's inside of it.
Amen. Look, my dad, when he retired from being an optometrist after 50 years, he owned the building he worked in, and now he's getting rent off of that. So, I think that,
Right.
to me, that's the key, Rick. You really nailed it here, because if you look at it just from the business owner standpoint, like, we're helping people who, you know, that's one way to look at it. But if you look at it as, I'm building something, I like to build, you know what I mean? And wealth is built. It is not handed. It is not given. It is built. And even those who are born with it, somebody built it. You know what I mean? And so I think that if you can get people excited about the building and understanding the fundamentals of that, we're going to have a healthier society. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And SMB owners generally are middle-class people, and they just happen to have the cash flow to be able to purchase the building that they're in. And then maybe they get another building, you know, then it's sort of, then their interests kind of can change a little bit. You've been giving so many great points. I'm going to ask for one more piece of business advice, maybe, Jenn, that you found valuable, that you could pay it forward and share with our audience.
I'm going to tell you, and this one's this one. Some of your audience will laugh and say that's not going to be my problem. But I called my dad recently, my favorite business owner, second favorite. I think my seller's maybe my favorite. But I called my dad and I said, Dad, how do you handle it when you're growing your business, you're growing your team, you're seeing all this opportunity, and your heart is feeling all these other cool, exciting passions? For example, I just released a jazz album, so I'm a singer. Like there's other things I
Oh,
like to do in my life. And
uh-huh.
by the way, it's called Love in All Its Forms, if anyone wants to listen. And what he said was, you always take care of the goose first. And I think that's the best
Yeah.
piece of advice. Take care of the goose
Yeah.
first, and then have your passions, enjoy, sing, dance, play sports, whatever you do, but make sure that the goose is safe.
Thank you, Dad. The main thing has to be the main thing.
Amen.
Okay, good,
Amen.
good, good. Okay, AI. What's your view on artificial intelligence? What are you hearing from your clients, and how is your company, if the smart agency is, leveraging AI?
Great question. I love AI. I'm in on it, meaning there's a lot to be developed, but I really think that you got to accept what is, and it's here. What are our clients doing? A lot of them are developing their own proprietary AI softwares. Of course, in real estate, it's things like being able to search easily databases of company, which properties could be converted from office to residential. You hear that kind of stuff a lot. You hear a lot of fear-based comments in the communications world. Oh, what if this takes away all of the writing and the design? I have zero fear around that.
Hmm.
Zero. I think that tools are tools for a reason. You can have a hammer, you can have a drill, can't do anything with it without the person who's wielding that tool. And so I think AI is the tool. It is not the actual brain behind the strategy. And so I think that what's important is we learn how to use it. So that's what we're doing at the Smart Agency. We are using it in various aspects. We're using it for brainstorming and for ideation. We're also exploring our own proprietary version of it. We're a company that's been around since 94. We have a tremendous
Hmm.
database of information. And so we're working on a way to make that proprietary, again, through the commercial real estate and finance realm. So I think you got to embrace it. You got to hug it. You got to try it. That's my take on AI. And I really think the industry's with me on that. I think my clients are saying, let's get in it and try and see what it can do.
Yes, it's an enabling technology, and I'm glad that you're enabling aspects of your business with it. Let's talk about change. I know you study, research, and speak about change in business, and I'm wondering if you could sort of help us to understand a little bit more about how you can share your perspective on this topic of change. You had mentioned that earlier, so bring us home on that topic a little.
I will bring us home on that topic. I'll tell you that I speak about 4 specific strategies of change, and I'll just take you through them quickly.
Okay.
Number 1 is be able to reinvent yourself. That is, of course, branding 101. It has to happen at the company level. It has to happen at the personal level. Sometimes be ready to reinvent yourself. Number 2, learn to let go. Life is full of disappointments. Companies are full of failures. If you can let them go, I said earlier, I think energy is what moves us forward.
Yeah.
When we hold on to things, that dark energy will hold us back. So we've
Hmm.
got to let go of life's disappointments. The third is a concept I call the knowledge quotient. I know quotient's a weird word, just means percentage, but it essentially means check yourself and figure out, how much stock are you putting in your external knowledge? So what you've learned from others, the internet, your relatives, your religious leaders, your boss, and how much stock are you putting in your own internal voice, the silence inside of you, making sure that you can balance that. That I find tremendous. Talk about Zen, but I
Mhm.
find that tremendously helpful when I'm trying to make a decision to just go, wait, how much of this is external? Oh no, it's 90%. I'm letting things bobble around up here. And then the last strategy, number 4 of navigating change, is grow your own garden of thinking. And that is to say, and this actually ties back to AI, Rick. The other thing I think is, while I love AI, I accept AI, I like that it's all coming. It is an opportunity for us to cultivate innovative thinking. It is an opportunity for us to be original. And the only way to be original is to nurture ourselves. You have to give yourself time. You have to go slow. And whatever that is, I write, I'm a writer. Some people play music, some people run, whatever you do, you've got to give yourself time to let real ideas come out. At our company, we have a speech series that I do every year. And I invite everyone to come in and pick a business topic and just talk on it, because I want people developing their own ideas. So I think that when you're navigating change, if you follow those 4 things and you remember it's the ocean, you'll make it.
Oh, I love that. And are you out speaking in public venues? Is that one of the things you're doing?
Yeah, I gave a TEDx talk earlier this year in Paris in March.
Nice. Oh, wow.
So yeah, I am, but I'm also very focused on the goose. So I'm not out speaking too much. I'm really very focused on smart, but it's a big, it's a big part of my heart. I feel like I am a confident communicator, and that is a gift. And I think when you have a gift, you got to share the gift. And so I want to try to share with anyone and everyone in the workforce to say, if you can get through these things, you can love it. And I'll tell you, there's this one thing that I love, and that is there's this song by the Supremes called "You Can't Hurry Love." You may have heard it. You can't hurry love. No, you just got to wait. And I always think about that when it comes to work and the workforce, because no matter what age you are, at some point you don't like what you do. You know what I mean? You don't want to go to work that day. And if you just remind yourself, you can't hurry love, go slow, let the ocean move, you'll wake up one day and love what you've got to let yourself, let it come to you, like let it build within you.
So off script, how did you evolve to be this self-aware? Was this something you saw with your family? Was this a journey you've been on? Was there a moment in time where you realized you needed to invest more in yourself? I mean, how did you come to be this amazing person that you are right now?
Well, bless you for that comment. I got to thank Dad again. Dad and Mom, both Dad and Mom were very big on motivational thinking, motivational thinkers. I went to Anthony Robbins seminars when I was 16 and 17.
Ah, you're so lucky. Did you walk on coals?
Yes, I did. I walked on coals. I did. It's real. You can do it. And I tell you, when they walk you out in that parking lot and they light that thing on fire and they say you're going to walk, you're like, hold up.
Right. Yeah. It's impressive.
It really is. So I think that really started me. And then I'm an extroverted introvert or introverted extrovert. I'm one of those people that I'm very extroverted, but I'm equally introverted when you put me in a room full of books. I love to read. So I read and read and read. And I think that has also added to self-awareness. I've been reading a lot of Michael A. Singer. I've been reading a lot right now of Eckhart Tolle, a lot of The Power of Now. Just again, it's Zen-ish, but I'm finding that is so helpful in the business owner mindset, because you have to begin again and begin again and begin again.
And I believe for leaders, you have to know yourself to be able to lead others effectively, because it starts with you. And so self-help, investment in yourself is not being selfish, it's self-care, and it's critical to leading other people. So I'm glad to hear you're on that journey. Let's talk about the future, my friend. Jenn, I'm going to have you back at some point. What's going to be different? What's your vision for the future for your firm?
Oh, what's going to be different? Well, we're going to keep scaling. You know what I mean? We're going to scale, and our goal is slow and steady growth. We're not trying to be crazy, but we'll be bigger when I talk to you next. And when I say bigger, I just mean more impact, more clients, more people we're helping. And then I think, my next step for me as a leader is I got to grow again. I'm in a new growth spurt. So I feel like I have a company where people like to work. There's a great culture. And now I've got to give my leadership team more visibility. I've got to give them more empowerment. I've got to really lean into my strengths as a visionary and allow I have a number 2 in the business who it'll be 11 years we've worked together in January.
Wow.
She's fantastic. Thank you. And I have others right behind her, 8 years and 7. So it really, the next step is letting these people have their leadership journey, investing in them as leaders, which I do, and really growing this into a company where, again, like I said before, it's not the Jenn show. This is the Smart Agency. This is a company that will serve this industry nationwide. So I think we'll still be on the road together, Rick. That's hopefully having a potluck. That's what I hope next time.
That'd be awesome. I told the audience at the beginning that they're in for an amazing show, and you have exceeded on all fronts. If someone would like to connect with you or learn more about the Smart Agency, how do they do that?
Absolutely. Connect with me anywhere online at Jenn Quader, JENN QUADER. I'm everywhere on social that way. I'm also at jennquader.com and then thesmartagency.com. That is where you can find us, all of us at Team Smart. And if you're looking to have your story told in commercial real estate and finance, we're the ones to do it.
I have occasionally glanced out your window because I assume that is not a virtual background.
It is not.
It's the real thing. And that looks like an awesome view that you have there, my friend.
Well, thank you. We are here in Mission Viejo, and
Love it.
we are very, very lucky. And I'm especially lucky. I've touted my dad a lot in this, but I'm going to give my husband some props because we found this house, and I said, absolutely not. We will not buy that house because it's yellow. And he was like, honey, we can paint it. So so yes, thank you very much. We are very blessed to be here in beautiful Southern California.
Amen. All right. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're super busy, but I appreciate a little bit of your time today.
Such an honor, Rick. I will come to chat with you anytime. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for what you do for business owners. It can feel kind of lonely sometimes, and it's really important to have community and support. So just thank you. I really appreciate the chance.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for saying that. And thank you to the audience. You're a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Jenn's show now joins our catalog of 1,500 episodes that we've done over the years. If you are an Orange County entrepreneur, or maybe you lead a nonprofit, and you too would like to share your story with our audience, it's really easy. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Rick Franzi, Franzi. If we're not connected, give me a connection request. Mention that you'd like to talk about being on the show. We can work that out. If we're already connected, send me a message. Between Haley, our producer since 2016, and myself, we can certainly get you prepared to be a future guest on our program. We'd love to talk with Orange County entrepreneurs and nonprofit leaders. Until the next time we all have a chance to be together, I hope each of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.